Hey guys, Asher coming at you today, Watcher of Realms. I am not alone. I am joined for some much needed help by none other than Fastidious. Fastidious, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm very excited to be here, and yeah, love you, love the game. What could be better?
I am not as excited as I am, man, because I am going to self-servingly use this video for all your tips, all your expert advice and tips, a little account review, if you will. First off, your channel is killing it right now. I just want to congratulate you. I know, you know, we've had you on before a few months ago or whatever, but since then, you know, you've continued to grow. You stream all the time. You post all the time. I mean, like 3 videos a day. I can't keep up with you, bro. And no better guy to come on, you know, positive vibes, and just really want to thank you for everything that you put out there in the community, man. Everybody should go check out Fastidious' channel if you're not already. With that out of the way, let's talk about, so I don't want this, you know, jokes aside, I don't want this video to be just about me. I think that there's a lot of people, maybe this game throws a lot at you, man. There's a lot to do in this game. For a game that just kind of came out-ish, they have a lot, like more than Raid does in some ways. Maybe not. And maybe I'm just more accustomed to Raid. But either way, I want a prioritization level set for everybody out there, right? Like, what should we be focused on? What type of heroes? Well, let's get into some specifics but from my account, but what type of heroes am I maybe just sleeping on, right? And I'm going to show you my progress everywhere. You can make fun. Please be as harsh as possible to me if I'm using any wrong builds, if there's obvious heroes that I'm not using, if my teams suck, whatever it may be. So we're just going to have some fun here and, you know, talk about whatever tips come along the way. So where should we start, dude? Should I just show you my hero collection, or should I show you my progress first?
Well, I think the best, yeah, because if we want to make this accessible to everybody, we should set a baseline. So I'd love to know how many days you've been playing if you want to go to your daily login. Yeah, so you're about a month behind me, and based on the rumors on the streets, you've been pulling a lot lately. I heard you had a 3 and 10 on Ancient, so I'm assuming you have most of the amazing heroes in the game, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm missing like a few key ones, of course, but like I feel like almost everybody is. Like I don't have Salazar, I don't have Twin Fiend, but I have, you know, most of the other big ones. So like my issue is probably not the heroes at all.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So when you think of this game, especially if you're coming from a game like Raid, where you're used to like, all right, I have to choose the right heroes and then I have to invest in them, and it's like this fixed investment, we have a lot more variability in this game. So there is the investment when it comes to who you're going to put your skill crystals into, specifically with your legendary heroes, since those are so rare, regardless if you're a spender or not. However, there's an extra layer here in that you can move all your gear around. So when you have like this full menu of options, like I'm seeing here on the screen, geez Louise, you really need to evaluate it as, all right, I have the puzzle pieces now, and this game is a puzzle, right? It's tower defense. So now how do I empower those puzzle pieces to be as strong and helping me to crack the case as they possibly can be? So I would love to see if we can actually, maybe it seems counterintuitive, but I'd love to start by just looking at your gear and looking at your artifacts, and that could inform me as to how we're doing for nearly 5 months in.
Well, I absolutely love that idea, because people aren't going to have the same heroes, but if we're not building them correctly, then what does it matter who you have, right? Yeah. So
not many people love A2 hot sit.
Yeah, so before I reveal the gear here, I want to ask, is that how you look at your account? Because the swapping gear, like I feel like I've been doing it all wrong for the beginning, because I feel like, do you build the way that you are end game players, the way that you look at your account, right? Do you look at as like, hey, I have 3 nuker sets, I have 3 tank sets, and then you just basically mule those best sets around? And does that mean that you're farming gear raids for months for like 2 pieces, basically?
Exactly. So that's kind of what I would say. So the end goal, I'd say, for especially players that don't get as sweaty as me or some other players that don't want to move gear around constantly, and I move many sets around every single day, many times a day usually, so it can be a big headache. The end goal is to, all right, this is essentially Cetrum's set. This is essentially Boreas' set, so on and so on, right? However, even the highest end players, you know, the guys in the Mad Guild and the top of CLS and stuff like that, you still are always hunting to have, all right, this is the perfect Infernal Roar set or something like that, because as new content is added, you know, new phases in the Void Rift, the end game content, new codexes, I don't know how you call it, new phases to the Mortal Codex, let's put it that way. If you're going to min-max that and you want to get top 100 or top 50 or top 10 or top 3, you will need to like know, all right, you might be hunting, exactly like you said, you might be hunting for like that right Infernal Roar amulet for months. And because you can move things around so freely, that is the way to approach it. I will say also, artifacts are the ultimate when it comes to min-maxing in the end game. So I just put, for me, which was a lot, like 78,000 points into the most recent Mystery of Artifacts tournament. But if you look at like some of the top people, I saw some of that put up 220,000 points. For perspective, I spent about 25,000 or 30,000 stamina. So that guy is coming up.
Wow.
I mean, what even is that? Towards 100,000 stamina spent in a 3-day span. That
after we talk about my gearing and my heroes, I think that's the next thing I'm going to ask is like where I should be spending my stamina based on my account. And I'm sure my viewers will be able to glean something, there from themselves as well. And like, that's one of my biggest questions, because I feel like I can run AMS like all day, every day. And I still like am constantly trying to pick which artifacts to sell and make room. And anyway, but I digress. Okay, let's talk about the builds first. So I hear your answer loud and clear. I basically want to be looking for some specific builds that I can mule around and eventually get to the point where I have like everybody perfectly built. I will say, as much as I love swap feature, dude, I also forget all the time who has my good gear on, man. And then I go to auto run a stage or something, and it's like, why is this not working? And they're sitting on like some
here's a good tip I think that will help you and also maybe help your viewers. Something I like to do is I'll have like pairings. So it's very rare that I'll run Arrogance and Aria together. And they'll be one or the other, and they wear very similar sets. So I just have my Arrogance Ardia set. Occasionally, when I'm really pushing content, I'll break it up and I'll move it around. That's like every couple weeks for like one big push on Codex or something, right? But I don't have, it doesn't have to totally get lost in the sauce. That's like one pipeline where it's just going back and forth, back and forth. I have several like those on my account. So that's maybe a little more of a middle ground, because not, like I said, it's kind of crazy to do what I do. And then some people take it every step further. Every single piece, every single moment of every day, they will min-max that. You don't have to get there. Yeah. So that's a nice solution.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do that. That's some great advice there. I'm gonna do that. Okay, let's start with the builds here. What I want to do is maybe cover like 2 or 3 of my legendaries and 2 or 3 of my most used epics. That way, I'm sure the epics especially, I'm sure they'll be like, the obvious ones, Hollow, Olog, whatever. Okay. Ardia. I mean, I don't know if you have a special hero that you want to look at here. They're all the same to me.
I think this is a good start from what I'm seeing already. Because you're doing some things right and you're doing some things fairly wrong. You said I could be critical. Hear about.
So one thing I do that I'm sure everybody does. I want you to do most of the talking here, but my final note is I look at the leaderboards all over the place, and I look at their builds, and I'm like, how the hell are they getting like 500 attack speed and 400% crit damage? Yes. So. Anyway, so it makes me think that, man, I'm not building any of my heroes fast enough, because they're all running like 400 ridiculous 500, 600, 700 on everybody, Anyway, what am I doing wrong? Talk to me a little bit about this.
So I think a great starting point. So Ardia is a perfect example, because she's like has a strong case to be the best hero in the game. I'd probably rank her number 2 right now, just because Silas plus Virna, that bond is ridiculous. But if you want to go to her skills and go to her ultimate, you can immediately learn a ton about her kit from this, right? So what do we know about Ardia from this? Well, you've got Max Skilled Her, which I highly suggest anyone that has Ardia does for her ultimate. It's only 600 costs, which is super duper low, right? So you can cycle through this very, very quickly. She's also extremely strong, which we just know by looking at the multipliers, reading through her kit. It's quite a bit complicated, but just using her or watching anyone use her, you'll see she's literally, she's broken strong. She's so good, right? But that 600 ult immediately tells me, wow, she's a tremendous candidate for 2 gear sets. And that's going to be the more common one to get, and then the premium one you get later on in the game. So that's going to be the Wisdom set or the Soulbound Arcana set. Because basically, the more times you ult, the stronger she will be. So the Wisdom set, if you want to pull it up, you could go to like filter by gear and then just click on it. So the Wisdom, you can click on a piece. So
Wisdom,
after using her ult, her ult's going to be popping up all the time, and that's where her tremendous damage is going to be coming from, and it doesn't last that long. For those 10 seconds after the ult, which is going to cover most of the ult, if not all of it, you're going to have 35% damage increase, right? So a 1.3x multiplier on all her damage. That is super strong. That's one great version. A better version is Soulbound Arcana. So if you want to do the same thing and find a Soulbound Arcana piece so we can look at that I can read that to you guys. And that's probably how you're seeing, like, how are these people getting that kind of damage out of Ardia? That's going to be it, right? So her ult's going to come up really quick and very often. After it's triggered 5 times, with each time it stacks with another 10% permanent increase. There's no time on this, like after 10 seconds it wears off. So after 5 triggers, every bit of damage she does from her ultimate, from basic attacks to this, that, or the other is just a 50% increase. So whatever damage she was doing, multiply that by 1.5x, right?
Okay.
So working backwards from set, especially for the point of the game it looks like you're at, I'd love to see later what gear raids you're all on, but it looks like you're pretty far in. It's kind of about like, dang, I need to farm GR3 to juice up my Aria. I need to farm with that Soulbound Arcana. I need to do that. This also to get a nice Infernal Roar, you know, for my Idril or my Cetrim. We'll probably talk about those heroes. Or let's say for your Silas, or maybe, oh wow, I've neglected my Ageless Wrath. So you do start approaching it from like, there's looks like a great Ageless Wrath attack bonus piece, Ancient. You got on the left that plus 12 one up there. Those are things you're going to kind of work on, or you want to build out Invig sets. So that's how you're going to take your whole team to the next level. And by hunting and hunting and hunting and min-maxing those sets, you start getting pieces like this one on the left here that has perfect substats, right? So you're getting a big crit rate roll, a big crit damage roll, and a nice chunk of attack speed. Over time, you're going to want those all being purple or even gold, but that's a pipe dream for even players on Forerunner that have been going hard, you know, like Ray from Dragon Slayers, who's top 1 in the world on Tide. They still can't get it all because there's so much RNG that goes into this game to find the perfect piece. So much more so than like Raid, right? There's so many levels. It is crazy.
So I need to recalibrate my expectations coming out of gear raids. Basically that I'm not going to get many good pieces. Like for every 100 runs, I might get like, you know, a piece. Is that even too much to say? Like a decent piece?
It might. You get to a point where it's definitely less than that. I mean,
less than that.
For you now, you'd have to want to approach it. I'd say so. It's like a transition piece, right? So you hear stats over stats, stats over stats, stats over stats.
Which is totally what I'm doing here. Yep.
Which is to a point. However, what I will say is another thing that comes out of that, even by farming harder and harder, you'll get more Ancients, which if people don't know, Ancients, they don't guarantee good subset rolls, but they kind of do. It's a much higher chance. Like I have the game file data now. It's a far higher chance to get those good blue rolls, purple rolls, or even gold rolls. So that's how you get like that Ageless Wrath piece we just saw.
How much of a chance are we talking about since you have the numbers? Is it like massive? I mean, anecdotally,
we're waiting
it seems
for the next
big.
It's much more likely. And people might also know. So if you want to click through the right side gear that you have on Aria, let's just see. All right, so this is a perfect example, right?
Sure.
So that amulet, you'll occasionally notice if a piece rolls over 2 bars, and usually what I found is 2.5 or even 3 bars, so touching the purple, there's a strict correlation. It's actually in the code that it will have a much higher probability, almost like an ancient level probability to roll high substats on everything. So that's a great way people can feel it out. But what you're seeing when you're looking at those top leaderboards, I presume, in like Guild Boss and Codex, is people are having pieces that are super min-max. So every single piece has a substat with attack speed at 72%, right? Or 72 flat, you know? And that's how, like, a lot of my best heroes will be running at 400 or even 500 attack speed. And I'm not even close to at the level of those other guys yet. And because of that, then you can focus on your attack bonus and eventually on your crit damage, because then you'll eventually start hunting attack bonus in the substats, going crit damage mains. And that's where you're seeing this 400% crit damage with still very respectable attack bonus, or flat attack that they built from their gear, and then tremendous attack speed.
All right.
So it's all a big grind. If I can say one more thing that you're missing from your gear, it looks like, or at least from this gearing on Aria, that probably a lot of people are and they might not notice. I have a video on left side gear where I explain this, but right side gear is interesting. The main stats are variable and some things are locked in. So the bangle right there, your bangles is the only piece on the right side that could have a crit rate main. Your amulet's the only one that could have an attack speed main. Your ring's the only one that could have a rage regen. However, all the substats can be anything. That's not the case on the left. Your breastplates can never have attack speed. The breastplate and the weapon can never have rage regen, and your weapons can never have crit damage. But there is a big exception. So ancient gear doesn't only just have a better chance to roll high, but that's out the window. Now you can get every substat again. So if you were looking,
we have that on right here, for example.
Perfect. But this has attack speed, right? That's basically, if you didn't have an ancient there, you're the whole missed opportunity to have attack speed. Those best players, if you look at the guys in Mads like Deegs or something, right? Or Murder Inc. has got crazy gear, right? All his breastplates probably will have that, or even some rage regen, or all the weapons for DPS will have crit damage as well. For everyone else that hasn't farmed super aggressively, or at least started targeting it, those are all missed opportunities. So even me, my gear compared to those people, when I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, I have a whole mountain still to climb.
So this is okay.
That
so
really good.
Boreas is the only dude who, maybe not the only, but one of the few that I actually put set over stats just to a little bit. Obviously, some of my best gear on my entire account he has, right?
This is a great build,
Okay, I was gonna say, like, this is more towards like where I want to be with Aria, but I'm just not there yet, gear-wise.
Totally. So if you had a build that resembled this, maybe a touch more attack speed, and then instead of this Ageless Wrath, you had Soulbound Arcana, you'd be looking at a really stellar build for your Aria, and you'd see like your Conqueror numbers shoot up, and you'd be destroying Void Rift and stuff like that for you.
Okay. Well,
this build for Boreas is very good.
Okay, thank you. Before I move on to my epics, just generally speaking here, like for my DPS, in terms of ratio, like attack to crit rate to crit damage, am I okay-ish?
This is the hard thing, and people probably ask you this all the time. I know they ask me this all the time. I'm sure they ask Dan Heilman and Ivy and everybody, right? What's the ratio? Like, because in Raid, we kind of had these numbers to work on, right? You had like, you want this much attack to this much crit damage. The difference is in this game, and this is something I'll be coming out with very soon, now that we have the damage formula, the damage calculation, the first part of a damage calculation in this game, and this is why you might, if anyone that like loves Ma Bucket, like I think we all do, and watches his old stuff, he's always like attack, 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 especially early on, right? You probably heard that, right, Ash?
Yeah.
And that's because the first part of the calculation is attack minus defense. So if you're not having attack over defense, immediately you're into a negative, and you're gonna have negligible damage when you do that damage calculation. So it's all about, like, I think of it as like jumping over that fence, like clearing that threshold, to make sure your attack exceeds the enemy's defense. However, with all different kinds of content, the level of defense you need to clear is super different, right? So because of that, there's no clean answer, I would say. There are ballpark numbers I can tell you to shoot for in like gear raids and stuff, but also then it comes into, are you using Dolores? Like, why is Dolores so powerful? Or Constance? Because they're making the amount of attack you have to build far lower, since they're lending a bunch of attacks. So then you're clearing that fence.
So if I'm using Dolores, does that mean that because my attack's going to be so high anyway, that I can err on the side of going 2 crit damage on the right hand side? Okay, that's
cool. If you have good enough gear, which I do now, like, and I do takeovers every day, multiple takeovers sometimes. If we click on Idril right there, Idril,
she doesn't have good gear. I swapped her recently, so nothing.
No, it's fine. If we were to do this on my account, man, half my heroes are never wearing gear because it's all moving around. I was gonna say, I totally get it.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
You can see here, you've got an A5 Idril, and you can see even with the bonus she gets from, I think it's her Awaken 2 with the increased attack, she's only at 3199 base, right? So you did, I'm sure, a deep build, and you're only getting 5,000 additional. What I found, so here's a specific example. This is probably slightly low, but even if you get to like 9.5K with a well-built Dolores, that can be enough attack even for Gear Raid 321. Because a well-built Dolores is going to be giving between 7 to even 8,500, maybe low 8,000. Let's say between 7.5 and 8,000 attack. So that'd be added on top of. So instead of having 9.5, if you're adding 7,500, you're talking 17,000 attack. So I've even gone triple crit damage on Idril if you have good enough substats, which might sound crazy since she has such low base attack, and people are always thinking attack, attack, attack. This is a later game concept. Yeah, so your Dolores could use a slight rework.
But I want to ask you about Dolores specifically, as well as just like Eloin or any healer who also has rage regen. Like, I don't know if I should prioritize healing or attack speed or rage regen or whatever, but Dolores. Okay, so
quickly, just to finish what I was saying with Idril, to finish that thought in case it helps some people. It's not always as intuitive as your Idril must have this much, because if with the well-built Dolores, the number can be that low, and then that crit damage could be what allows her to like melt waves, especially if you have a Roger or something, right? And another thing is Guild Boss, right? The Guild Boss just naturally has very low defense, so you can go triple crit damage or at least double crit damage all the time. However, Void Rift, other gear raids, if someone's not with Dolores, then it becomes a totally different story. So again, to Gear Raid 3, if you have someone on the left side, like a Nyx or a Razak or even Boreas now can do it, then they're not in Dolores range. Then it's a different priority. So there's no clean answer. I'm working on trying to find ballpark numbers that people can shoot for, but a great way to make sure you're always hitting it is with a better built Dolores, and we can do a lot better than this. So we can pick it up here if you want.
Let's take it from here, man. So I have basically right now a lot of attack percentage, right? And for inspiration,
left side looks great.
And then I have rage regen on the ring. So tell me a little bit about what's wrong here. Obviously, and instantly you were like, okay, we can rework this. What's wrong?
So you did, basically the way I approach Dolores is you want as much attack as possible. Attack speed doesn't help Dolores. It's officially now, they've updated the tooltips. It's in the basic attack, and attack speed only affects basic attack. So all that matters is attack. Rage regen is nice. 80% rage regen is very nice. So for Guild Boss, this could be really, really good. But for most content, you don't need to cycle her ult that quickly. So I actually like to just throw Rage Regen out the window with Dolores for basically everything but Guild Boss, and I can explain that now. If you want to go to your Pantheon or your Hyperion Dragon, if we go to the main menu, the camp, in the bottom left, the dragon, you'll see you've got a well-built Hyperion. You're getting naturally, all your heroes are starting with 30% Rage Regen. So it tends to be a fairly soft cap as you get closer to 100%. From what I've found, even getting to even 30 to 50% can be very suitable for a lot of heroes, especially with Dolores when you need to time out her ult with your other heroes' ults. That's basically true everywhere except for in Guild Boss, where theoretically a build like this, you could be cycling her nonstop, especially with the Hollow. Yes, exactly. So I would definitely want to go attack bonus here, and we'll see an immediate boost. And what I'll tell you is, if you're going to do Invig, you should just do Invig. And for where you are, you probably should have an Invig set on your Dolores. So what I would do is you did primary attributes, attack bonus. Now I'd go secondary attributes, flat attack. Exactly, flat attack. And let's just see what you're working with. And I'd probably level this piece, and if it rolled, I would roll that piece, and if it rolls even half, okay. And that has Rage Regen too, so that was the next tip I'd have.
It has it all.
So if you
I'm
can
taking it all the way.
I'm taking it all
the way. I got a good feeling about this. But I'm still going to use it.
12% Rage Regen, I'm happy with it. You know, it's all a process, right? Oh no, were we clicked? You clicked on the bangle. I thought we were clicked on ring.
I mean,
we're
back. Okay. We're back in. Okay, I can steal it from Volca, and we're all good.
This is fine. Yeah, let's click on Tor to see if that has Rage Regen. But it's flat attack is low. So I'd snag this from Volca, and then immediately I think we're kind of leveled up here. And you can see if you click on your eye, now you've got to attack. This is way higher than my Dolores. Now this is like a brilliant build, 13.2k, right? Once you count in the boost she's getting from her Keen Wisdom, and you count from the boost from your Pantheon, which is probably like 8 to 10%. You know, she's gonna be letting over 8k attack during her ult to everyone in a range. That lasts for 22 seconds, right? So this new Dolores is going to be juiced up. Yeah, so people might see the 12% Rage Regen and think not that much, but add in the 30% Rage Regen from your Pantheon, which anyone that's been playing as long as you will have something close to that. You got 42% Rage Regen. That is more than enough for basically any piece of content, even close to enough for Guild Boss. If you want to do true non-stop cycling, then yeah, maybe it's a different story. But any normal piece of content, like if you're doing Void Rift, you're doing any gear raid, this Dolores would be a superstar in literally all 3 gear raids right now. This would be awesome.
Dude, you are a lifesaver already. I'm so happy. I was building them wrong. So here, my next natural question is going to be Hollow and Elowen, 2 other rage regenerators on their ultimate. I in my mind, I'm like, I want them to get more rage regen. Should I also drop these?
Hollow's a really weird example. So sorry to give not a straightforward answer yet again, but I'm sure you have A5 Hollow based on seeing how much you've pulled on your account. At A5, every time Hollow uses her ult, she's going to get 15% increased efficiency to her rage regeneration, and I have no idea what that means.
I was gonna say,
so I'm still trying to parse through that. Yes, but what I think it is the speed at which it fills is up by 15%, which I do think is different between the percentage boost. It's more of a speed percentage boost, but basically she's going so quick without any rage regen at all. I think for Hollow, for most content, again, except for maybe Guild Boss, is close to sufficient. This isn't a bad shout though. One thing you can do with Guild Boss with Hollow is it's actually quite nice because Hollow is giving Rage Regen 1% every time she heals, regardless of the strength of the heal from her Awaken level 1, which also you have. So you kind of just want to make sure she keeps healing, and she keeps healing a lot. So one problem with your Hollow, she could definitely be faster, even though that might seem fast. But your Hollow's not built to be such a great healer, which is actually pretty good.
About Hollow though, like I use her to heal aside in like Gear Raid 1. So I need to keep the healing, and I need her to, like, I don't know, maybe with your account it's a little more stacked, or maybe I'm doing something wrong, but like even in Guild Boss on that last like minute and a half or whatever, like after that last thing is burst, like I need her to be like Johnny on the spot with my heals, you know, because she's the only one I got. So anyway, that's why I have her built this way. But you're saying,
no, it makes sense. Yeah. So that's how I do my Hollow. I've got her in like a hybrid build. I've got her with some Rage Regen. I've got her rapidly fast, and then I try to get as much to get to 100 heal effect, just like you did. Basically, it's a pretty definitive soft cap at 100 heal effect, so people don't need to go higher than that. And then a nice chunk of attack. Your attack's looking low.
Yeah, it's because I had HP bonus because she was dying on Gear Raid 1. But yeah,
makes sense. I actually think it's surprising, but attack speed could fix that problem. Because attack speed for a healer is the frequency at which they do their basic heals, which for her is extra important because whenever she does a basic heal, she's giving whoever is healed, whether that be her or someone else, 1% of their rage cap back from her Awaken level 1. So it actually might seem counterintuitive, but there'd be a lot more healing going around, which might, you know, do the same effect as having HP, and it might help the rest of your team. Hollow's a weird example. But yeah, with Elowen, what's really nice is her Rage Regen is entirely passive. So Hollow's Rage Regen is tied to her healing, so the frequency of her basic attacks, and tied to her ult, which comes up by doing a lot of basic attacks, generating rage with Rage Regen percentage, and doing Elowen. If we go to her last passive, that little leaf there,
Yep.
But the reason she's just so cracked is nothing. She doesn't need to do anything. As long as she's on the field, every other member of your team on the field is getting 3% rage every 3 seconds. So basically it comes out to 1% rage per second, and it just happens. So it's not really tied to anything. So you can just build her conventionally as a healer, and that will just happen anyway. That would be if you wanted to keep her running, just having her ult all the time. But she's got really nice basic attacks. And in general, rage regen percentage is a pretty niche main stat on your rings, I would say. I like having attack speed on the amulet if you can't get it elsewhere, but I would go attack bonus on the tops and the bottoms. The only exception might be in like healer codex where you need more HP.
My next question and final question, I think, at least for now, I could talk to you for 2 hours, man, but at least for now regarding gearing, is we talked about these healers kind of 2 or 3 in a row. And we didn't talk at all about healing effect. I'm sitting on all this healing effect gear and I'm like, how much does it matter versus attack speed, versus, so when, if ever, are you using healing effect gear, and should I ever use it? Because you didn't mention it on Eloin or Hollow or anybody, even a Vortex. I don't see many people using it. So I'm sitting on all this gear that is healing effect. Should I just can it all?
Probably. Certainly the stuff that isn't amazing. So any healing effect piece that doesn't have... So basically what I do, here's a quick little gear cleanse tip. I'll go to sell after a big couple hundred runs. And then you can sort by the gear. I'll click all my left side gear. So I'll click the little icon for the bangle, the amulet, and the ring. Sorry, right side. That's my bad. Right side gear. And then I'll make primary heal effect. I'll make secondary attack speed. And then at the bottom, if you scroll down on the right now with what we've selected, it will say second attributes do not match. I auto sell all of this because there's no world where I could ever have a heal effect piece that needs to go on a healer, and there's no world where I'm sacrificing not having a main stat, not having attack speed on the main, and I'm okay with not having attack speed in the stuff.
That's a great. That's one little thing right there.
Another little tip you can do with a lot of things. Like same thing with rage regen. There's no world you're doing a rage regen main piece that doesn't have an attack speed stuff. It's a miss synergy for no reason. What I would say is, I have one really good heal effect piece I have on my account. Basically, everything else I've sold except for a couple other stragglers. A good exception would be like Eloin, right? Her base attack is so flippin' high. It's like 5,700 that you could get away with not running 2 attack main pieces on the right. So maybe you could do a heal effect. However, eventually later on, again, to talk about the top players, same thing with attack speed and stuff, or like, crit rate. You don't ever want that on a main because you're going to get so much from the substats, and you only need 100 heal effect. Because it's basically such diminishing returns after them. So that comes out to, you can get heal effect, and there's no condition. It can always be a subset on every piece. So on a healer, you can just hunt for it. You can get much higher than 20 heal effect.
You don't want it anyway, so you've probably got that gear floating around. So
exactly, you only need a few pieces, and then once you have 5 pieces, if they all average 20 heal effect, you have enough. So there's no reason to main stat it. I'd say someone like Elo with such high main stat would be the one exception because she's got so much attack to work with as it is.
So like on Vortex, are you comfortable? I don't have like barely any healing effect, but I have HP, like
That's
really nice
piece.
Attack speed,
Really
so overall his attack speed isn't crazy, but it's it's decent. Is this like an okay build?
Yeah, for Vortex, just like my rule of thumb, I like to shoot for like between like 37 38k HP as a minimum, and after that I want to pump the attack speed to the moon and see if I can't get 100 heal effect. So what I would do, when I do my takeovers for people and stuff, right, I'll typically go for going down from bangle to amulet to ring. I'll go HP bonus, attack speed, HP bonus, and then I'll see where I'm at after that. And when I do the HP bonus pieces, I'm doing HP bonus primary. With secondaries, I'm hunting for heal effect and attack speed. Same thing for the ring. And then with the attack speed, I do that as the main, hunting for HP bonus and heal effect. And that usually can cover a lot if you have good gear, which you probably actually do. It's just hiding in different corners of your account.
Indeed.
But some of the pieces I'm seeing are awesome.
Yeah. I have a few here and there, selfishly, on all my heroes, I'd be remiss if I did not ask, who should I be? Okay, so I've been saving my skill crystals.
Filter. Yes.
So I have, I can't see right here, but whatever. I think I have like 13 or so, right? Who would you prioritize? Leia, I think, is like the obvious choice here. I pulled her like a couple days ago and I haven't built her yet. I have like quite a few others. Like maybe just any thoughts on like, oh, dude, even if it's not the first priority to build, like somebody that you think could probably help out in a lot of different ways. I have Admiral Claw, I have Anai, who I know you're a huge fan of. I have the amazing Durza, who looks amazing from the reviews.
He's better than that, but
I have Kai.
If we're saying all those level 1 legendaries, then Leia by a mile is the best choice.
Okay. I have Carnelian, whose kit like really looks weird and maybe even confusing, but I'm intrigued too. And I have Praetus. I mentioned Praetus in Carnelian because I've leveled them, but I haven't built them. Like I haven't spent any time doing anything with them yet.
So Praetus is broken. Maybe we'll talk about him on the video on my channel because I wanted to pick your brain potentially. Praetus, absolutely, I would invest in.
I saw him on all the top teams on the Codex.
He's crazy. Yeah, he's like, what's amazing with him, his best skill, he has a skill from his Lord skill, if that makes sense. So I have 2 videos showcasing him, but basically this thing he does here with the potential to do the Verdict of Truth 1, Verdict of Truth 2, or the Final Verdict, that's a button that appears on the right side of your screen. And you can press that button as long as he's on your team, regardless of deploying him, which is just like a crazy effect he has. It's nuts.
Oh my God. Okay.
And he gets the full benefit. So this improves every little thing based on the number of heroes from Supreme Arbiters on his team. You don't even have to deploy any of them. So him plus 4 others, you can get the max thing, effect.
But instead of a shield, this is awesome ability.
Yes, and that you have manual control over, which is crazy. Dude. And you can watch it fill up. So Praetus is about as good a hero as we have in the game right now. But not Leia, strictly meta because he's pretty rare, but Leia will boost. If you're thinking GB or something, that Leia Infernal Rage comp is about as good as it's getting right now. She'll be on all the top teams. She's not just she's a good healer, but especially an amazing buffer. She just happens to be so people don't really use her as a lord because watchers are weak, but just as a hero, she's very strong. I will say on the topic of skill
and stuff, you don't think it's a little bit more redundant to she's not going to help me. I'm just saying,
Sure. Yeah. She'll help you with something different. So the big thing with Leia is she is a competent healer and she does have rage regen, but she also has a big damage boost that she gives.
Yes. Yeah.
So that works very, very nicely. I'd say a general note for skill crystals, they're so rare. And even I'll tell you, by the time you reach where I'm at, I actually have more crystals than I do dust. And dust is legendary skill dust, believe it or not, is my big gate right now.
Oh man, okay.
I like to only skill people up when it is going to help me push something. So a slight increase in damage or this, that, and the other doesn't matter. But like if I think something I'm working right now is skilling out my Valeria because I think she could be close to one of my last missing pieces to get me to 50k blood in the guild boss. She's a focus, but I wouldn't do it just because I think she'd get me from 25k to 35k or something. Okay. Or right now I'm at 35k, so I think maybe she'll get me to 45k. Then I get onto a rage comp, and then maybe that's the push. So I like to. They're so rare, and it's such a premium resource and a scarce resource. I try to save it for moments where it's like maybe you're in GR3 and you're like, wow, one more skill up into my Silas, then I might have enough damage to take out. Then that's the moment to do it. So maybe it's a little boring
advice. No, that's really good. So I want to really quick. I don't want to take up tons of time on this because we've already been here long. We got to record your video too, but I do want to quickly show you because sure, you just gave me kind of an uninformed best opinion based on the knowledge that you had, but I want to just kind of take you a quick little tour around the account where I am and where you think maybe that will change your advice. So Gear Raid 1, Gear Raid 2, I've cleared stage 21. So I'm pretty much good there. I don't need to do anything. Gear Raid 3, I've totally neglected completely. I haven't even played it in months. Bad. So I haven't even cleared stage 20. I'm sure I could, I guess. I haven't tried in a while.
No, you can clear everything.
But I do need to kind of go in there. So maybe fully skilling. I think I have Salas fully skilled up. But I think I already have all the pieces I need for Gear Raid 3. So I don't think I need to necessarily invest in different champions. I just need to focus here, right?
Yeah, you're Gear Raid 3, you are set. Fun thing, Praetus could be, because usually you really only need 8 heroes for Gear Raid 3, maybe the 9th being your Lunaria or your Aracha as a lord. That 10th spot could be Praetus, and he doesn't even need to touch the battlefield because you could just be pressing that button. Yeah,
so I'm just gonna run him and run like Silas and I used to run Setram, but Silas and Setram, I don't know. Guild boss, I can key it or stone it or whatever the heck it's called. So I can get 25k blood 2 times. The problem is first off, I feel like an idiot even asking this question, but when I go auto fight, it always fails whenever I record a run. Is that something that's common in this game?
No, you must have. There's still going to be RNG, right? If you don't have people crit cap, so that could be it. But if you had timed it all out right on your original run and then made sure to save that, so maybe you're forgetting to save your good run, so it keeps running a bad run. That's possible.
No, because I'll run a run, and then I'll get the 26k, 25k blood or whatever. And then I'll run it again, not changing anything, and then I won't pop the last thing. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is just RNG of crit rate or something on whatever, you know?
Before we just glaze over it. So for where you are, man, right? You're almost at endgame.
Yes.
nothing is going to help you more than the gear that you get from Gear Raid 3. So like
Okay.
that's the biggest mistake you've made, because the biggest for many of you heroes, and especially these amazing heroes, you have their best in slot sets are going to be Infernal Roar or Soulbound Arcana, depending on their kit, and you don't have that. So that's gonna your guild boss damage would shoot up, and you wouldn't even have this problem to ask me about. And your all your other things would improve, your codex and your void rift. So I would say that should be your absolute top priority. If you need any help, you just let me know. But you have all the pieces ready. You got to get that 321. There's no question in my mind.
Okay. All right. Well, dang it.
Yeah.
Then that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go. That's gonna be first priority here, because that's gonna, to your point,
For sure.
all the other pieces would fall into place after that. So, I mean, obviously, it's just like you're just seeing a quick 3.5x run. I'm not expecting you to, get into the team and get into the nitty gritty or anything like that. But I guess my main question, if I can put like a more specific, and let's see what this did. It worked this time, which is nice. That's and of course just shy.
Slightly light.
Yeah.
Slightly light.
But here's the kind of the issue I'm having right now. It's a nice issue to have, by the way, but I took Pyros out because I got Sokoldins, or however you say his name. So how do you pronounce him?
Oh, I say Soul Cadence. And is your question going to be, why did Zeal 2 get worse?
Well, it's not. Well, I know why Zilla 2 got worse, because she stops attacking and it channels in and Pyros. Yeah. So, but I do not know if I should even if I should go back to Pyro, because frankly the blood, it might have even been a tiny bit higher with Pyros, because he's
is your Soul Cadence A0 or A1?
Yes, A0. Or, yeah.
I would definitely go back to Pyros. You really only need Pyros A3, but he's going to have that great uptime on his vulnerabilities whenever he ults. And what Pyros does is just the weird interaction with, honestly, it's buggy with Zilla 2. But he interacts with her directly, that even though it looks like she stops attacking, it's helping her because the damage she's contributing counts as her damage, and it counts for her as a double hit. That's why she's so cracked out with those guys. She only has that interaction with Focus Fire, which is not whatever the ability that comes from Hellbreak Loose, which is the ultimate of Soul Cadence. Focus Fire is on Meteoric Strike, and then whatever Pyros' ult is called. So that's why with Twin Fiend and Pyros, she gets that big benefit. She misses out on it with Soul Cadence. If you had Soul Cadence A1, it probably could still be worth it, because if you look at his A1, he gets 25% vulnerabilities for magic and physical, but he has no vulnerabilities beyond that. So you're going from the 20% with Pyros to nothing with Soul Cadence, plus he's hurting your Zilla 2. So the good trade-off is if you had him A1, you'd still get the vulnerabilities, even better versions, 5% better, right? 20% relatively, 25% relatively, and Soul Cadence does way more damage than Pyros or Twin Fiend. However, because you don't have that, and maybe he's not built perfect, and now your Zilla 2 is taking a big hit, it's going to be hurting you. So I would go back to Pyros until you get a Soul Stone for him, or with the way your luck seems, you might. Also, he's not skilled up. That's going to.
I was going to say, should I skill it? Would you use the?
I would. So I would, because Soul Cadence, the reason I like him so much more than Pyros and Twin Fiend. Yeah, if Praetus is skilled, I would still Praetus. It's not going to get better than that. Between Boreas and Praetus, you have the two most broken heroes in the game, and then you have Aria, who might be number 3. So but I'd say the Soul Cadence is that I like him so much more with Pyros and Twin Fiend. Is they're kind of like guild boss stars with a little bit of utility elsewhere. Soul Cadence is amazing in so many spots. So he would be my choice if you had to choose between them. So
long story short, the rest of the team is totally fine. Just make that swap. I mean, Torador is only for invigoration.
I would definitely take out Aria for arrogance, and then you could use Torador for invigoration, Volca for invigoration, and then arrogance will get that 20% boost by having 3 nightmare units, and he's going to do more damage with his burns and everything, and Aria is doing here almost certainly. That'd be one easy chain.
The only reason I have her is because of the bleed and the synergy with Scarlet Hunt, I believe, artifact on Zilla 2.
Yeah. Do you have a Wailing Skull? That would be a better artifact for Zilla 2, just point blank. Interacts. I would throw that on Zilla 2. Then you don't have to worry about the Scarlet Hunt. She'll do more damage just with that at base promotion. And then Arrogance is going to get those 30% chance for the double hitter from Torador. He'll get the Nightmare boost. You can do all your Invig
Wailing Skull is so freaking cool, first of all. Yeah. Is it like one of the hardest to get? How come I've never only pulled one? Okay.
That's that tier of Twilight, I think, are the 2 rarest, and maybe Euphoric Orb. Anecdotally, those seem to be the rarest. I'd have to look at the rates.
Better then. All right, final question is so Void Rift in campaign, I barely even play, because there's so much to focus on, like I said at the beginning of the video, right, in this game. So should I be, I guess my question to you is should I actually go in here and play Void Rift?
Yes.
Or yes. I know I should do it all, Fastidious, but should I? Where should I? If I'm gonna spend 2 hours, and then over the next 4 nights playing and really focusing on something, should I do Gear Raid 3, or should I just pump everything Void Rift, or should I work on Gear Raid 3 first and then all Void Rift.
I think Void Rift will be very time consuming for you. So maybe better just to focus on Gear 3 for now. However, and it's different for you though also, because I know you just pulled a bunch of Ancients, so you have ways of getting them besides Void Rift. But like for me, the only way I can reliably get my Ancients is like Codex and Void Rift. So it's a non-starter. You have to do it. I also say this is the only way. We're getting a new way from Forerunner that will come soon to get exclusive artifacts, but that's the only way to get exclusive artifacts right now. But no, you're Gear 3, and I'm serious. If you need any help, I just did it for Mad Capper. I'd be happy to do it for you. Just let me know.
I love Mad Capper. That's cool that you helped him on that. Cool. Yeah, man. I mean, I think I've got it. I mean, I have plenty of embarrassment of riches. So I think it's just about, to your point, just getting there. I think I'll probably use like a on the right. I have Allura and I have Hatsuit, obviously. Or I could just Yep. And then on the left, I'll just go with like Razak or Nyx. And then I'll go Silas and Setrum maybe in the middle. And then I'll go with obviously Dolores, Idril maybe. If you
want to, well, you can end here. If you want to go to Gear 3 and go to the map, I can give you a tip that I've shown people. And I thought it was becoming common knowledge, but apparently not. This is what I strong suggest. You don't need Setrum there. So you see we have the square in the middle by the middle portal. If you ignore the one off to the right, that's a great spot for Laurel or something. But if you look at the two just to the right of the middle portal, two just to the left, you kind of have a square there. So what I like to do is the top right one, I put Dolores. The bottom left one, I put Autumn, the rare hero. And now you have a diagonal where both those two heroes can have Invig and both of them can be buffing the other two. So at the top left, you can do your big DPS, who, because you have Silas A2 and you have Virna to boost him, he should go there. He will we could do it in seconds, honestly. He will melt the boss. Then you can have Idril in the back right. You don't need a Setrum or anything else. Silas will do it by himself. Then you use that Laurel spot where your cursor is. That's where we can keep cycling to make sure Laurel and Dolores are staying up, and you'll be good to go. You have every piece already.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Next time you talk to me, we'll be done with all 21 stages.
Amazing.
Hey, Fastidious, thank you so much for the advice, man, especially on the gearing, the heroes. Everything's been amazing, but I'm sure that's going to help out. Those tips for Dolores and everybody else are going to help out all players out there. So we'll have to have you on again. In the meanwhile, if you want to hear more Fastidious, guys, we're going to go do a collab on his channel right now, so check it out in the show notes below. Thanks again for joining me, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Take care, guys.